And good morning or afternoon to everyone. Appreciate you taking the time to join us here today. As you can see, the title of our webinar is Taking the Next Step with BlueCielo Meridian. It's technically designed for people who already have the BlueCielo Meridian product. However, if you've joined us and don't already have the product, I don't think that'll be a problem. I think you'll still be able to benefit from the presentation. Couple of housekeeping things. Everyone is in listen-only mode, as Ashley mentioned. We will be taking questions at the end of the presentation using the question panel in GoToWebinar. You can type those questions in at the end, or you can be typing them in as you think of them here as we go, and we'll answer them at the end. Going to be kind of a mix here of PowerPoint and then taking a look at some demos of the different modules and capabilities of Meridian. So hopefully it'll be an enjoyable and worthwhile 45 minutes or so here. And these are the areas that we want to cover. The first area, I guess technically, is an advanced module. We want to touch on Meridian 2015 and some advancements with the web client. Then the advanced modules available with Meridian to take the next step. We're going to take a look at the Explorer publisher, or excuse me, the Explorer module, which is a newish search view print module for Meridian. Publisher for doing PDF renderings and other functions. Project portal for outside the firewall collaboration with outside engineering firms and contractors. Global collaboration framework for multi-site replication. Asset management module for integrating with in-house maintenance systems. Advanced project workflow for tracking document relationships between as-built documents and project documents. And then the FDA module. So those are the areas we're going to cover. And the first thing I wanted to touch on, since so many of you, or if not everyone, are existing Meridian users, one of the big changes that has come down with Meridian 2015 is that the web client has now been enhanced to the point that all of the end user functionality in the power user is now in the web client, with the idea being that your CAD users, your main users, can now actually use the Meridian web client to do their job functions, as opposed to needing the desktop power user. One advantage there, of course, is some of you may have tried using the power user between sites, using the DCOM protocol. Performance is not the best, so also the web client will improve access between company locations. To take a look at some of that functionality in action, I've got a little demo here to show, about 3 minutes long, just to give you a look at some of the advanced and enhanced functionality within the web client. So I'm going to queue that up here if I can find, okay, where did you go? Okay. I don't have it up here, so we will do this.
For years, BlueCielo has offered users of Meridian the ability to work in an Internet Explorer web browser. The functionality, however, has always been a subset of the Windows Power User client until this release. In Meridian 2015, we've made web access a major development theme for all Meridian Power product levels to support the IT centralization efforts of our customers. The first visible change is the new welcome page that shows an overview of all the vaults the current user is allowed to access. The color schemes and logo on the welcome page are configurable to match your corporate standards. Let's go ahead and click on a vault here, and after entering the vault, the entire user interface looks more like the Windows Power Client. And let's take a look at some of the new features. Looking at the status by person view allows us to quickly find who is working on what documents. You can expand the various change categories, as I'm doing here, for a list of documents currently under change. Here we can see that I have been assigned to change multiple documents. In this release, highlighting a document reveals the relevant details as normal. You will also notice that the full row highlight of the currently selected document makes it easy to identify the column details as we scroll across the window. We can also sort on the columns, such as revision number. Let's go back to our main Explorer view and expand some additional folders. As we start to expand more folders here, you'll notice that the in-frame vertical scrolling will become enabled as more lines are added to the view. When scrolling vertically, the header at the top will also remain in place. In addition, you can adjust the width of the columns as well. Selecting additional documents will highlight them in addition to those already highlighted. The web client works equally as well with Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. Most importantly, the 2015 web version of the Power Client supports all major functionality the Windows Power Client does.
All right, so that's just a real quick overview. I mean, some of you haven't used the web client a lot, may not have realized those were some limitations as opposed to using the power user. So I think, over the next year or so, most of you are probably going to want to migrate from the desktop client to the web client. Also, what was alluded to there at the end, the functionality of these advanced modules that are listed here is also now all available from within the web client. So we think that's, all in all, that's a real positive development going forward. The next thing I want to talk about is the Explorer interface that's available with Meridian. Excuse me, and the Explorer is a search view print interface, designed for people in the shop, maintenance people, sales, customer service, whoever just needs search view print access. It's highly configurable, very streamlinable, if that's a word. Also, you can see what's documented here is the fact that multiple Meridian vaults can be merged from an Explorer standpoint. So maybe you have multiple vaults in your organization that have different drawings in them for different engineering divisions or types of products. The Explorer user interface can actually seamlessly interact with multiple different vaults. The Explorer is also fully integrated with the advanced project workflow and the asset management we'll be talking about as well. Also has view and markup capabilities. So it's a very nice, streamlined user interface. In fact, we want to take a quick look at it here.
The BlueCielo Explorer client provides an innovative way to browse and find your documents. Using filter and full-text search functionality, you can easily navigate your way to the document you need and view its information with just a couple of mouse clicks. Running down the left-hand side of the client interface, we have all the controls we need to navigate the BlueCielo Vault. Here at the top, we can choose a predefined view, or enter some text in the full text search. As you can see, this quickly produces results here in the right-hand pane. By default, the results are shown in a grid, but this can be easily changed to the thumbnail view by pressing this button. Moving down the left-hand pane, we have more options to help find documents. Listed here are some of the properties for this particular vault. The vault text shown here are the names of the properties, and they can be expanded to show some of the values of these properties. Basically, this can be seen as a filter, allowing you to filter on the selected properties. Some of these properties also contain a manual input field, allowing you to specify a part of a property value. This eliminates the need to search the entire list of property values. Searching with this filter method is very flexible in that you can choose to either filter in a hierarchy or simply on a single property value. The order of selection does not matter. What's more, you can also select to filter on multiple values of any given property. This is done by simply checking the Enable Multiple Selector option as shown here. You may have noticed earlier that when you select a value for a property, the other values disappear. Now, you can select multiple values by simply clicking them. Every property value you select will now show a small red cross as seen here. Clicking this cross will remove the value from the filter. Each thumbnail also shows a number of predefined properties that give information about the document. Clicking on the thumbnail will put focus on that specific document, and extra controls become available to us. To begin with, a viewer window is opened, which includes the same controls that are available in the BlueCielo client application. Across the top of the interface are a number of tabs giving you access to more information on the selected document. The first tab, Basic Info, is the currently selected tab. You can also switch to the Property Pages tab, showing all of the available property pages that you would also see with the BlueCielo Web Access Client or Power User Client. From here, we can also view the version information for this document. On the right is a list of the revisions. Clicking on any of the revisions will show that revision in the viewer. This is a great way of comparing different document versions. Clicking on this small cross will return you to the search results, allowing you to select a different document. This has been an overview.
All right, so hopefully that gives a quick overview of the Explorer, and we're going to be talking about it a little bit more in conjunction with use of the Asset Management Module and the Advanced Project Workflow as well. Now, the Publisher is a module of Meridian that we've implemented for a lot of our customers. Basically, what the Publisher does is allow you to automatically render your CAD or other types of files to more common formats, also smaller, more easily accessible formats like DWF, and most commonly PDF. And those documents can then automatically be published to the same Meridian Vault, different Meridian Vault, out to the Windows file system, to another document management system, collaboration portal, just a number of different destinations. Now, where the idea is, you're working in Meridian, a user does some event or action, like a release, a check-in, and that becomes the trigger for the CAD file or files or other files to be submitted to the publisher, which is typically running on a separate PC to do the rendering, and then automatically renders the file to one of these formats. Again, most commonly PDF, and then to one of these destinations. And just looking at that expanding the architecture a little bit more. Think of the power, this is showing power user client. The action could also take place in the web client as well. Some user interaction, event happens, gets submitted to the publisher, and then either back to the Meridian Vault or to some other system. And one of the features that of the publisher, it's really a feature of Meridian, and then integrated with the publisher, it came along a few releases ago, is the ability to make the PDF file available as a rendition, where the PDF document is never available as a document in and of itself. It's really just available as a child rendition of the native document. So when somebody in customer service or sales or out in the plant, for instance, clicks on this DWG file to view it, whether it's in a Power client or the Explorer, what comes up in the viewing window is actually the PDF. So they're automatically redirected to the PDF, which their computer may be more suited to view, or they may be more used to looking at and able to print. And then you can have control over what users see which renditions, either the native or the PDF. The next module I want to mention, it's actually just nearing its release, is the BlueCielo project portal. And as the graphic shows, it's a cloud-based product. Now, many of your companies, of course, you do internal engineering work, but a lot of times you may have engineering work done by outside engineering firms, or you need to collaborate with outside contractors, some other suppliers, a customer or client if that applies to your business. And you need an easy, seamless way to communicate files back and forth with them, but you're managing your files in Meridian. You don't want to let those people into your Meridian Vault. So similar to the publisher, where it can be event triggered or could be executed with a command, files can be synchronized at certain points in time from your internal Meridian server to the BlueCielo project portal in the cloud, where people who you've made this project available to, they'll automatically get email notifications. They've got a new file, so they get notification they've got a new file they can download. There's audit trails, so you can track all that activity. An outside engineering firm might submit a new design or new version of a file to the project portal. It can then sync down to Meridian. And it's not only working with the file transfer, but your whole workflow process. You can have one integrated workflow process inside the firewall, outside the firewall. So that's something to keep an eye on here as this project rolls out, if you think that is something that might benefit your organization. The next area is the Global Collaboration Framework. And this is another one that we have implemented for a lot of our customers. And it is designed for multi-site replication, where your company is set up so that you have engineers or CAD users at multiple different locations, and users at those different locations need access to the same native files. And of course, working with CAD files, whether it's just AutoCAD or you're into Inventor and SolidWorks, either way, those get to be large files. And pulling those files back and forth across the WAN is very non-productive just due to the file size. And or if you copy all the files local, then those files get disconnected from each other. So a user makes a change at one site, users at the other sites don't know anything about it, so then everything gets really out of sync, and major major problems can ensue. So the global collaboration framework is designed to solve that problem by giving all users local file access, but keeping everything totally synchronized. So with the global collaboration framework, each site has its own Meridian vault with a local database and files for fast access. And actually, they have their own replica of the same vault. They're not separate, different vaults. And then the file ownership, check-in, check-out are immediately coordinated between the sites, and then at scheduled times or on demand, file changes or updates are packed into a briefcase and updated at all the different sites. And here you can see some of the screenshots here and some of the action going on. A little bit more detail on the collaboration concept. As I mentioned earlier, each site has its own replica, own local replica of the vault. And it can be an internet connection, like a secure VPN, or over your company's wide area network to connect the different vaults. And then we can see documents can have replicas on multiple sites. So here we can see we've got document 2 exists on all the sites. And then due to the fact that each site has its own database, and theoretically 2 users at different sites could simultaneously, say, check out on the same file, the global collaboration framework introduces the concept of ownership. So even though the file exists, the same file exists on multiple vaults, only one of them, only one vault or site owns it at a time. And then on all the other sites, that replica is currently locked. And we'll talk more about how that works. And then status changes are broadcast real time. So that means if a user in the USA checks in, the file status changes immediately to checked in. But the new document may not replicate to the other sites yet, because that is controlled under the scheduler. But if the USA checks in a new file and somebody in China goes to open it, Meridian would know, hey, China, you don't have the latest file yet. USA's made a change, checked it in, but you don't have it yet. Do you want to wait, look at the old version, update now? And then at scheduled intervals, those file changes are broadcast to the different sites. And then here we can see a little bit more of the screenshot. So and again, this is in the power user. All this functionality is now in the web client as well. So here you can see you have a property page tracking the collaboration status of different files. And just some of the steps here. I want to talk about, okay, here's their claiming ownership. So a user at a site has a command then to claim ownership. And, it may be that ownership of certain files never changes, but if a file is owned by the USA, somebody in China wants to make a change to it, they would first need to claim ownership before they can change it. And that claiming of ownership can be controlled through security. So maybe you don't want China to be able to claim ownership. Maybe in the USA you can change the ownership to China under your control so that they can then check it out. So here we can see ownership is claimed and transferred. Then if you've claimed ownership and are getting ready to make a change and you don't want that ownership to go away from you, you have the ability to lock the ownership for particular files at particular times. So you'll hold that ownership. Here we can see transfer ownership. And then get would allow you to get the latest revision if you don't already have it through the replication update, or distribute now would force your change to the other sites now rather than waiting for the scheduled update to happen. Again, like I mentioned, we've put in the global collaboration framework for a lot of our customers, and they've seen the benefits. So everybody's got fast local access at all sites throughout the organization. So when they can better utilize their engineering staff. So when they're doing a project, you're not locked to only using engineers or CAD users at one site. You can collaborate across sites, or if this site is slower, they can be pulled in to do a particular project. So you get much better optimization and utilization of your workforce. Of course, your performance goes up. People aren't waiting on file transfers. And we've really seen, you see more, companies becoming global, but then sometimes you see they don't really have the technology in place to really efficiently be global. And the global collaboration framework has really helped a lot of customers in that regard. The FDA module, I just want to talk a little bit about this. I'm not sure if we have anybody in these particular industries on this webinar, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the FDA module. But if your company is involved in pharmaceuticals, dealing with FDA regulation, there's some very stringent things there that those of us in other industries don't need to deal with. So BlueCielo has an add-on module for Meridian to help support users in those industries and conform to the 21 CFR Part 11 regulations that the FDA imposes on suppliers of pharmaceuticals and other controlled products. And typically that relates to secure audit trails and reporting, electronic signatures, the automatic rendition creation, which relates back to the PDF publishing, more controlled printing, email notifications, and advanced document workflow are some of the features that come in. One of the things you run into in the FDA environment is that those of us in traditional manufacturing, we might log into our computer in the morning, and then as we're reviewing and approving documents, we can do that throughout the day using that login we use first thing in the morning. But it might be in theory, we could have walked away from our desk, somebody comes and sits down, approves something. That would rarely happen, but in a more controlled environment, that's more important. So the more authenticated access, any reviews and approvals require a separate login and password. Can be kind of a pain, but it's required by the FDA, so that's a feature the FDA module provides. Also, audit trails are much more extensive and secure with the FDA module. Electronic signaturing can be configured and fully secured. Subscribing to documents, which is now actually a base feature of Meridian. Not sure if people are familiar with that or not, but you can subscribe to documents, which means when that document changes, you will always be notified of that change to the document. And you can set up your subscriptions as to when you get notifications. And the FDA module has been very popular. You can see kind of a who's who within the pharmaceutical industry are using the product. products I want to talk about next are really two of the key advanced modules that we're doing a lot with Meridian these days. The first one is the asset management module. And what that allows you to do is to link your engineering and other documents, CAD drawings, to the specific pieces of equipment or assets they're related to, so that users throughout the organization can search on a piece of equipment and then immediately see all the documents related to it, which is extremely beneficial for maintenance people. Or you can go to a document and see all the pieces of equipment it relates to. And that's fully integrated within the Meridian client and can be fully integrated inside your maintenance system. Kind of showing this graphically. You see, here's our engineering department with our Meridian server and all the documents and things that Meridian is managing. Over here is our maintenance system, where we're managing all of our asset records and all the details about those assets. We've also got our work orders, and the asset management module brings these two worlds together in a totally integrated manner, so that from a maintenance client, whether it's SAP Preventive Maintenance, Maximo, Oracle, or Archibus, or other popular systems out there, a maintenance person can bring up either a work order or an equipment or asset record, and here you can see the information, equipment number, its parent, asset, description, supplier information, all that kind of thing, and then there's an engineering documents button. So then with one click, a person can hit that, and then it brings up, using the Explorer client we saw earlier, all the documents related to that piece of equipment, which is a huge benefit for your maintenance staff. You can also use it standalone. A user can just open the Explorer client, and the Explorer client is aware of both assets and documents. So a user can just bring up the Explorer client, search and find an asset record, just like you've got here in the maintenance system, and then see the documents, or vice versa. So you can access all these relationships and jump back and forth between assets and documents, either in the main Meridian client, the Explorer, or your maintenance system interface. And I kind of talked about those features. There's also an iPad-based mobile client, and then some of the different maintenance systems that the asset management module has been integrated with. If we take a quick look at that in action, and this is going to be showing the interface from within the Meridian power user.
In this video, we will be looking at how BlueCielo can be used to manage engineering content in relation to your asset management system. Basic knowledge of the BlueCielo Power User Client is recommended before viewing this tutorial. For this demonstration, we will be using an BlueCielo Vault that has been configured with the BlueCielo Asset Management module. This module is used to connect engineering documents in the BlueCielo Vault to objects and tags in your asset management system. The BlueCielo Asset Management module adds the following predefined folder structure to the BlueCielo environment. Tasks built to manage the functional plant structure, objects to manage all objects like control books, tags, equipment, pipes and lines, and projects for design, engineering and construction projects. To begin with, we will be working from the object level. The objects found in your vault correspond to the objects in your asset management system. If we select an object in the vault, we have a couple of property pages at our disposal. The first one is Object Details, The property page gives more information about the functional location and other details of the object we have currently selected. The next property page is the Where Used page. A key benefit of this page is the ability to manage the relationship between the object and the documents attached to the currently selected object. If we select one of the linked documents, there are a number of key features available to us. Let's have a look at each one. Go to Document. Clicking this button will navigate away from the object we have selected and set the focus on the document. View Full Screen. This will launch a full screen viewer in which the document can be viewed. Report. Pressing this button will generate a simple Excel-based report of all documents attached to this object. And Show Viewer. This will show a smaller viewer window. If we now go into Edit mode for this object, another button becomes available to us. The Add or Remove Documents button will bring up a new dialog with which you can add or remove document links for this object. Using this dialog is very simple. The top half of the dialog shows you the documents that can be linked to the object. Usually this section will be empty as it is filled using search strings. The bottom half of the dialog shows the documents that are already linked to the object. In this instance, we enter the string AT in the document name field. We then make sure that the document type field is set to Any and press the search button on the right. You will see that a whole list of documents has been generated from our search criteria. You can, of course, make the search criteria more detailed to reduce the number of returned results. Once you have found the documents you would like to link, simply select the documents in the top section of the dialog and press the Create Link button. Alternatively, you can break the link of a document and an object by selecting the desired document in the bottom half of the dialog and pressing the Remove Link button. Now we will have a look at how you can work from the document point of view. With the document selected, you can switch to the Objects tab. This property page provides a list of objects.
I think I'll go ahead and stop there because it's kind of exactly the same process in reverse. So I think you can really see the advantages here. Maintenance people are more productive because they don't have to search for documents for a work order. They're basically delivered to them. Engineering is more productive because they're not needing to assist maintenance with finding documents. So repairs get done more quickly, so you've got less downtime. Also, it prevents outdated or incorrect documents from being used to perform maintenance functions, which of course improves plant safety and then helps maintain certifications and licenses to operate. So now, currently when somebody receives a work order, they need to go find the documents, which takes time. Hopefully they're the right documents. Then they can perform the work, where the idea is with the asset management module, maintenance planning creates a work order, links the equipment records to it. Maintenance receives the work order. That whole step of finding the documents is gone. Now, one thing that was shown in the video was the process of linking objects to documents, and there's a nice user interface to do that quickly and efficiently. Talking about going through the Meridian Asset Management user interface. It's a one-time process. It takes about as much time as finding documents using current processes, with the advantage being that you only have to do it once. Then once you've got them linked, the next time maintenance is done on that same piece of equipment, the documents are already there. So there's, even linking them manually, there's a payback. However, all that linking can be done automatically through a variety of different methods. The asset management module can look at your AutoCAD drawings and extract equipment numbers from AutoCAD drawings based on, if you have blocks and attributes for the different symbols for the pieces of equipment, based on text contents. And there's a lot of filtering and matching parameters you can provide to help perfect that. We'll work with AutoCAD P&ID and read the P&ID database. Spreadsheet importing, if you have a spreadsheet that lists assets and related documents, you can automatically link equipment records to folders so that any current or added files in that folder are automatically linked to that piece of equipment. Or you can automatically link based on Meridian document properties. For instance, if you do have a document property called equipment number or equipment numbers. So worst case, there's a great payback. Best case, you can link automatically. And here's a sample ROI we did for a customer, showing their current annual operating costs relating to performing maintenance operations and retrieving the documents versus, the upfront cost of buying the asset management software, doing the linking, and then, the kind of payback you get where typically, on this one we're looking at a payback period of about 1.4 years to return the investment. And then some of the companies that are currently using the asset management module. And then the last module I want to discuss is the advanced project workflow. From the picture, you see it's generally designed for large plants like chemical plants, refineries, utilities, steel plants, where going on through your facility, you've got a number of engineering projects going on at the same time. You can see you've got some big ones that incorporate a larger area, some smaller ones, and then you may have overlap. We got this little project going on which is dealing with this area of the plant, overlapping with this bigger, longer term project incorporating this area of the plant. And you end up with the case where you get the same drawing or drawings out to multiple different outside engineering firms or to engineers in your company. You have the same document assigned out to multiple different projects. And at the same time, you want to keep your current as-built available to the maintenance people and keep those project documents separate. That's the idea of the Advanced Project Workflow module. And it's a little bit different graphic as well, kind of showing the same thing where we've got this project number 2, which is a longer term project overlapping on projects 1, 3, and 4, and they may relate to the same area of the plant. So this, in this period, a drawing could be assigned out to both projects 1 and projects 2. Here, the same drawings could be assigned out to projects 2 and 3, and then you also dealing with your engineering phase versus your as-built phase, where the as-built drawings are being generated. Take a look at that in action. Want to jump to this presentation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar.
Our user in this case.
And what's happened here leading up to the point where we are in this presentation, using the Explorer client, someone out in the plant has found a problem with a piece of equipment and done a markup on a drawing, either showing what needs to be changed or showing the change that they made out in maintenance. So that needs to go back to engineering so that the drawing is updated. So using the Explorer client, a maintenance person or maintenance manager did a red line markup, which is then automatically triggered an email to people within engineering who are going to take a look at that drawing, see what else is going on with it using the advanced project workflow, and then take that change through. So we're picking things up at the point where somebody in engineering has received an email automatically generated once the red line was saved, and we'll go from there.
Now what it's doing is launching the power user of Meridian, and it puts us right on the document that the user from the maintenance marked up. And in this case, we can see those comments directly from here. So the maintenance, the design manager can decide what to do. And of course, the whole conversation is available for them to look at, including the red lines that were made by the maintenance person. So we'll make a decision here to go ahead and make a change. We'll go ahead and make this change. Now, at the same time, let me click on the document tab. We see that there's actually another project copy checked out
and that's what that construction icon relates to. That's a flag saying this document is assigned to a project.
This perspective, the engineering manager can see the other project copy. For example, in this case, this is the master document, and clicking on the project copy shows us it's in the major construction project, and we can see what's going on with those. We can compare those documents as well. I'll compare this a little bit later on when we make changes to this document as part of our maintenance change. So I'm okay with that, and now we're going to go ahead and add this document to a work in progress project, which is a small work order project. From the context menu, the engineer manager can simply create a project copy. Now in this case, we're going to be creating, of course, a second project copy. The first one is in the major construction project. We're going to go ahead and make one in the work in progress, for example, a small work order project. So in this case, we're going to be making a second project copy. This dialog box is pretty interesting because the master document has a couple of CAD references. Pump and a vessel document are being referenced into it as a CAD reference. So in this case, we want to copy these guys into the project as well because they might change. And in this case, those are not going to change, and I'm going to leave them where they are. So that's very powerful to allow me to take those reference documents and put them into the project as well. Okay. So we'll let the system create our project copy. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and verify that we do indeed have two project copies. Remember earlier I used this construction icon, this master project browser, to show me the relationship between the master document, and now we have two project copies. And they're both connected to the same master document, and that's perfectly fine within Meridian's concurrent engineering functionality. So what we're going to do here at the same time, we mentioned earlier, we're going to take this document and assign it to a user. A lot of our customers have a document controller or a design manager that delegates the work. Sometimes our customers...
So at this point, it's going to go through kind of a normal Meridian workflow function that you're all familiar with. Then when that is done and approved in the project folder, the advanced project workflow command then has a command you can click on, the new version of the document, which will then update, go back and find the related master or as-built and update it from the context of the project folder. Also, when that project is released, it will move to an archive area. Also within the functionality of the advanced project workflow, it will flag it and tell that, remember that first project copy that was already there when we came in, you know, it's now behind the new released as-built. So there's flags and notification for that. Also, of course, a lot of you are familiar with the compare tool that's part of Meridian. So the compare tool is really hugely useful here. So you can visibly compare what changed between the previous as-built and the newly released project copy, what's different between this project copy and this project copy. So there's a whole suite of integrated functionality to handle these types of workflows, which are extremely critical in large process-oriented plants or utility companies or pipelines, that type of thing. And also, within discrete manufacturing, there may be applications as well. So in order to make sure we got time for questions and still hopefully wrap up within an hour, that's actually the end of my presentation. So these are the modules and areas that we covered here this morning or this afternoon. So at this point, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I think we may have questions already that have come in. So I'm going to drag out my question panel and open it. And then while I'm answering these questions, feel free to type in additional questions you'll think of. And the first question we have is this question about version work with AutoCAD and Inventor files inside the same vault better than past versions. There are a variety of improvements in those integrations. I've actually got that would relate back more to just a general Meridian What's New presentation, which we can answer questions on that or go over the differences. There's also a full What's New presentation from BlueCielo on their website. So that's something that can be addressed there, or we can discuss those specific issues probably one-on-one with you to address improvements that hopefully come through there. Other questions? While we're waiting on any other questions to possibly come in, Ashley, do you have any other wrap-up information on the webinar?
Well, I don't have anything else besides the fact that if you have any questions you think of later, you can simply reply to your GoToWebinar confirmation email, and we can get those to Matt so that he can answer anything you might think of later. Once again, if you could take a few moments to answer the short survey, we would appreciate it. It will automatically appear when you close down the session. And other than that, we just thank you for attending today. And if you have nothing further, Matt, I'll go ahead and close it down.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions coming in, so I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up.
Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.